Recently, Blizzard introduced Quicker Play, a new faster paced version of Quick Play. This in itself was quite exciting, but what's really interesting is the concept of Quick Play Hacked as a whole, and how it could change the game for the better. But how? And this begs the question, is this the way forward for Overwatch 2? Well, Quick Play Hacked could be groundbreaking, but to understand how, I believe we should start by looking at its first iteration, Quicker Play. Now, Quicker Play is quite an interesting one. Basically, it's reduced game times and make them shorter by not only decreasing the overall match time, but also making objectives like payloads move faster and control points tick faster. It's also reduced the respawn time, meaning that it's more forgiving when you die. However, I'm not sure this was great overall. To me, it felt a little too arcadey, kind of like a mobile game would, which, although not terrible in all ways, it doesn't really feel like the kind of game I'd like to sit down at my computer, at my console, and play for an extended period, you know? It kind of feels like you can get steamrolled in just one or two team fights, and vice versa, you can like just roll through the opponent. And it kind of removes like some of the overall strategy from the game, and it also just like, it just doesn't feel great, you know? I mean, Blizzard did say that one of their goals with this was to test if it would decrease the negative emotions that you feel when you lose, right? And overall, I do think that this is true on an individual game basis. Like, after I lose one game, it doesn't feel that bad because, like, you know, the game was basically just over and I can just get into another game quite quickly. But then again, it kind of makes it possible for you to rack up multiple losses in a row very quickly since the game times are shorter, and a loss streak feels really bad, right? So now it makes it faster for you to get a loss streak. So now you've got a loss streak in less amount of time, and now that kind of feels really bad. So I don't really know how I feel about it overall. Also, in relation to the emotion of a win, that's also kind of the same. It's like, it's decreased for every win, but then obviously you can rack up multiple wins in a row. So I feel like a big issue with it is like if the matchmaker has a bit of a problem with putting you in like fair lobbies and you either steamroll or get steamrolled. Either way, I feel like it's not great, especially obviously when you're on the losing side multiple times in a row. But overall, it does kind of take the emotion out of the game for me personally. As I said, it feels a bit arcadey, like it just gives you like a small kick of adrenaline and then like it's over. It doesn't really feel better at the end of the day. When you're done playing, you don't really feel like you've accomplished as much, whether you won or lost. I would kind of, in a way, compare it to YouTube Shorts versus long form videos. Obviously, that's an extreme example, but I feel like you could still kind of say the same thing. Like each game, you're basically just getting like a small kick of adrenaline for each win, but you're not actually like getting much out of it. You're not really improving much as a player, and overall, you don't actually feel that good. Whereas in normal quick play, it felt a lot better to be playing, even if you weren't winning every game, you know? Whereas here, it kind of feels like you have to be winning most games, or else you just won't really feel anything. I do think it has the potential as a separate mode, maybe for like some very casual plays when you don't have much time, but I definitely don't think that it should replace quick play overall. So, quicker play does bring some interesting things to the table, but that isn't what really matters. What's important is rather the introduction of quick play hacked as a whole, and how Blizzard could continue to use it in the future. The thing is that currently the gameplay loop in Overwatch feels quite stale. It feels like you're kind of just playing games and nothing's really happening, you're not really getting anywhere. Obviously that partly has to do with rank being in such a bad state and rank is getting reworked in the future, but I also feel like quick play kind of plays into that, you know? And there is also a lack of content currently, but like it's not that big of a lack of content. It's a bit of a dry period, but just because it's a dry period doesn't mean that people should be getting bored of the game. And I think that changing things up with quick play hacked and maybe improving the core gameplay could be a big bonus just to the overall health of the game, you know? And not only is it going to be like refreshing every time there is a new quick play hacked, just to try out some different changes and stuff, but I also think that overall it could actually bring some really meaningful changes, like making a whole new playlist with like new different variations, or even just making beneficial changes to the regular quick play if they're not like too far off the standard version, and if Blizzard don't want to make like more players to split up for queue times, you know? But overall, I do think that it will improve the general gameplay loop, and I think it will especially benefit casual players, you know, who don't play that much ranked, as when ranked gets reworked, that will obviously be good. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with quick play as it is, but I do still think that it can be improved, and I can't say how, but I think quick play hacked will help not only us but also Blizzard to discover how and make those changes and just improve the game as a whole. And this could combo with the ranked rework to just make it more engaging for everyone. Also, the fact that PvE is basically gone now, there's not that much stuff to look forward to in terms of like core gameplay. Obviously there's going to be new events, but that can only help so much. And so I really think that this could be the way forward for Overwatch 2, to try and keep improving on the game and try to keep people engaged, really. Keep people enjoying the game by just improving the core gameplay. I mean, as I was saying, at the end of the day, events can only help so much, and new content can only help so much, because there will always be periods where there's less content than other periods, and so improving that core gameplay will honestly be the key to keeping people coming back over and over again. Either way, I'm really hopeful for the future, and although this alone won't be enough to hugely impact the game, combined with other things, it could be the backbone of improving the general enjoyment of this game. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.